Hi everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and we are doing a 2019's top 6 mass market produced oracle decks that came into my collection. Many of them actually were created this year, if not all of them, but these were ones that came into my collection, and I have been enjoying them thoroughly. So I decided to kind of isolate some of my top tarot and oracle videos because, as you guys know, I get quite a few decks in my collection, and so it's kind of fun to split it up in this way. So let's get started. First up, I want to talk about the deck called the Spirit Animal Wisdom, a 50 card deck with guidebook by Katie Jane Wright, illustrated by Nikki Strange. Now, this deck is produced by octopusbooksusa.com in the US, and I've never really heard of them before. Possibly I've heard of this publishing firm before, but this deck is sold on Amazon, for example, or at Barnes & Noble. So that's why I said it's mass market, even though it might be a smaller publishing house. But here is the box, sturdy. It came towards, I want to say late summer, fall-ish in my collection, and I really enjoyed it. I saw a couple of videos or walkthroughs of it, and I'm not always enamored with full-on animal decks, but this one just works for me as far as an oracle deck is concerned. Here are the backs. And I enjoy using this deck either on its own or with my White Sage Tarot. Let's see. Chameleon. Flamingo. Bat. I really, here's butterfly, enjoy this deck. I mean, it's so pretty. So, I don't know, like, it looks expensive to me, like an independently produced deck. Yeah, the cardstock's not my favorite. It's kind of semi-gloss, but it's not full-on glossy, which is great. And I like that it has like the elements, and the elements that are affected or that are presented in this card. It has the panda, it has the image, it has a key word, balance, and then a key sentence or phrase. Ask how to bring balance to the situation and into your heart. And the guidebook is good too. Let me show you that. It's just like so. There you go. This is not a review, by the way. I know every now and then I get comments from people who watch my past top videos, and they're like, you didn't cover all the cards, and why didn't you go through all of them? That's not what this is. This is just a list, really, of the decks that I really enjoyed. So I just have to say that, because you'd be surprised. I get that almost every year, that someone is like, you're not showing all the cards. No, but you can check out my unboxing and be able to see all the cards there. All right, so that's this lovely deck here. Number 2 is one that I've been really enjoying ever since it came into my collection. It is the Quantum Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. It's a 53 card deck and guidebook, and it's produced by Hay House. And this is kind of, I don't know, kind of semi-gloss, not fully matte. And neither are the cards, but it's kind of similar to what feels like the cards in this deck. Here's the backs. She is the creator, Sandra Ann Taylor, of the Energy Oracle, and I adore that deck. That Oracle deck is highly accurate, highly predictive, and I don't know. This one is also, I'm getting the same feels and vibes with it. Sorry if you hear a bunch of commotion going on out there. It's like 7 something in the evening here at my house. So my apologies for any background noise. And please check out the unboxing. I'm not going to kind of really explain this deck too much, other than I was surprised that I like the images. I was surprised that I like the system that she has going on in this book, or in her deck and guidebook. I really enjoy the guidebook. I actually just really am loving this deck. It surprised me so much. And I've been using it in readings for myself and readings for others. So yeah, that is the Quantum Oracle guide, or Oracle deck and guidebook. I'm going to put it back to make sure I have room for all of these decks here. Okay, next up is Oracle of the Fairies by Karen Kay and artwork by Ginger Kelly. And I should say the artwork for this deck is by Kinga Ritschke, and the deck design is by Bryn Star Best. I should have mentioned that. And Karen Kay has created Oracle of the Fairies. This deck also surprised me quite a bit. It's also a Hay House deck, and I was surprised for a number of reasons. I was surprised by my calling to have a fairy deck in my collection. I don't think I have any fairy decks at all in my collection. So this would, I'm pretty sure, I have some decks that might have a few little fairies, but not a full-on themed deck. This says, may you discover your fairy wings inside the sanctuary of your precious heart. It's so pretty and feminine and all of that good stuff. It is glossy. Here's the inside of the back side of the box. There's the guidebook, decent size. Actually, you don't really need the guidebook, and I'll show you why in a minute. There's the backs. Sorry, the lighting is a little off or bad. Well, anyways, we won't worry too much about it, but my apologies. You don't necessarily need the guidebook, but the guidebook is still really good. But that's because you have a beautiful image, borderless images. You have a keyword and then a key sentence, or actually like a little paragraph here. So for example, hope. Hope is always there even if we can't see it. Optimistic expectations can help change a negative situation into a positive one. So there's that. Protection. Sometimes I just need a little fairy magic in my life, And this deck seems to fit the bill. I know there's tons of fairy decks out there. I don't think I'm going to be like all in the market for them. And I'm not going to be able to anyway, because 2020 is my death year. So I won't be all going willy-nilly over fairy decks. As for help, let's see if I see any others that I want to show. Let's see. I'm trying to find, oh, I really like this one. Precious Time. Isn't that cute? Sorry for the glare. Anyways, check out my unboxing of this deck. It is where I show all the cards when I unbox the deck. But I really enjoy it. I've started to use it for readings for others, but I've been using it for readings for myself in the short amount of time I had it. But I really, really enjoy it. I'm super surprised that I'm hitting it off so well with it. I love those unexpected surprises. Because I don't always go for something light and fluffy, and it's not necessarily. It does explore some shadow stuff with these cards. I don't want to, give off the impression that this is a deck that, I don't want to give off the impression that this is a deck that is so frilly and so light and airy. There's actually quite a bit of balance to me with shadow and light. So I enjoy this quite a bit. All right, next up we have the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn. And this is a 52 card deck to discover the landscape of your soul, also a Hay House deck. I own her Native Spirit Oracle, and I used to have the Sacred Travelers in my collection. I know I have an unboxing of that deck, but I have since gifted it to a friend, so I don't have it anymore. But I love this deck so much. I recognize that the artwork, it says cover design is by Scott Bridenthal, and I think many of the images are stock images from what I've heard, but I don't really care. I still enjoy this deck. Here's the inside of the box there. Okay, here's a nice chunky guidebook, matte, and I'm just loving Denise Linn's writing for this guidebook. And I love the matte finishes. And most of all, I love working with this deck. And I've used it for my own personal yearly reading that I do for myself. And also I've started to incorporate in readings for my clients. Change. I suppose if you're not really into the borders, you could trim them with no problem, but I actually like the borders. It's like photographs, action. Whimsical, touched up photographs, I should say. Opportunity, like this one. Openness. There's protection. Thriving. Stand still. Security. Taking risk. Let's see if there's any others I want to show you. Power. Look, wonders. Oh, I don't have it. That was stone. That looks just like that one. And potential. Oh, one more. I can keep going. Oh, wait, two more. Illumination. And then last one. Healing Chaos. I adore this deck so much. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did this year, and I've been called to use it often. So it's going to be interesting to see how I work with it in 2020. But it's been quite nice to have it. Like, it just shuffles like a dream, and yeah. I personally think you can't go wrong with this deck. Actually, you can't go wrong with any of the decks that I'm discussing today. All right, so the next one we're going to discuss is one that I was reluctant to get, but I'm glad I got it. It is the Magick of You Oracle by Fiona Horn, and it says Unlock Your Hidden Truths. It's a Rockpool Publishing deck. And I was trying to see if it had like the artist on there or something, but we'll look at that closer. Here's the inside of the box. It's matte outside with the, kind of glossy raised lettering there. It's really pretty. And I was reluctant to get this deck. Well, what drew me to the deck is also what kind of repelled me, or kind of kept me from getting it, which is it's a deck that's more catered toward healing the reader, healing the healer. And I was worried that it would be a deck I couldn't necessarily use in readings for others, and I was in the market at the time for decks for readings for others. I wanted a deck that I could use for shadow work. And So I worried about that. Here's the backs. Glossy, but really, I like the way they shuffle. But I started to use the deck for myself. And I didn't jump on the bandwagon and buy it right away when it first came out. I allowed for time. I'm trying to get it without the glare. Oh. Let me see if I can bring you up to the light. I started using it for readings for myself. And it would just be one card that jumps for me. And it'd be speaking right to the situation at hand. And I enjoy it so much. It surprised me. I love this. Look at that. She has a gaping hole. It says Epiphany, reveal your gifts. And even though the images are a little bit like jarring or like whoa, like this, the messages are not super harsh. In fact, it is one of the softer voice decks that I have in my collection. I haven't really used this so much for client readings, but I haven't really wanted to. I do in my collection have some decks that are just for me, or just for me and my husband, or just for him even, that I, do readings for him or what have you, so, or for myself. So, I love that. Mosaic. This deck really surprised me. And many people probably use this deck in readings for others with no issues, and I probably could too. But right now, the purpose of it serving is altar cards or one card or maybe even 3 card draws. But usually I like the message in small doses because that's all I can really handle. Flash over. It's not that it's like going super dark or anything. It's not like that. But sometimes when I'm dealing with a certain situation and I'm like, okay, just give it to me straight, Spirit. Just give me a message. And one card comes out, that it comes out hard hitting because it's dealing with the situation at hand and it's being honest. And I'm sometimes not ready for all that honesty, but I need it. And so that's the deck I go to. This is the deck. So I'm happy I got it. I'm, just pleasantly surprised. I was also loving how I have restraint. I've started to have more restraint when new decks are coming out. I try to wait to see unboxing videos, see, if it's something I really want to work with or not. I don't jump quickly on the bandwagon anymore just to get it, just to be the first one. I ponder the purchase to see. And now, again, like I mentioned before, with my death year in 2020, I'm, now my hands are tied. So, yeah. All right, next up is the last one, but certainly not the least. These actually, I should have said that these are really in no particular order. It just happens to be the order that I listed them on my list here. But the number 6 one is The Literary Witch's Oracle, a 70-card deck and guidebook written by Taija Kitezkaya, illustrated by Katie Horan, probably butchering these names, published by Clarkson Potter, an imprint of Penguin Random House. And I got this maybe at Barnes & Nobles. So I don't necessarily use this deck also for readings for others. I think I've used it a couple of times, but I normally just like looking at it. It's not even one that I'm using for divinatory purposes. I will use it sometimes for myself for divinatory purposes, but she's got a bite. This one is not always, what the messages are coming out for me are not always coherent at first sight. When I'm looking at the cards on the table, I'm like, what are you saying to me? I'm not understanding what's going on. Kind of like a complex piece of old literary or old literature. And you're like, what's happening? What's happening? And then finally you look at it once more and you're like, aha, now I see what you're saying. Now I see the messages that are coming through. And you're just like, oh, okay. But I am at a place with this deck that I'm just like enjoying the way it feels. It feels so good in my hands. And it shuffles really nicely. It really actually is a nice setup. But I'm curious to know if people use it for divinatory purposes or how are they working with it. I've seen some videos that I've put on my save for later watch list to look at how people are working with this deck. So in 2020, as I'm exploring my death year, and I'm exploring the decks that I have in my collection and figuring out how to work best with them or how I might want to explore working with them, I'm going to check out those videos. Here's Zora Neale Hurston. And it has story. There's the keyword at the bottom. Here's Emily Bronte, fantasy. It has these Lenormand kind of images in here. These like, you know, apple, even though there's no Lenormand apple deck, but you know, where it's like the single item. And you're like, okay. I really enjoy the imagery. And like I said, sometimes I just pull it out just to shuffle it and look at the images and see what it has to say to me on a given day. Because when I ask a question of it, it sometimes is a little like, whoa. It's like, could you be a little softer in your delivery? And then sometimes when I ask the question, it's like not coherent. And I'm like, I'm going to leave these cards on the table, come back to it later after I've had a chance to really marinate on them, on the messages, and then see what comes up and journal on it later. And oftentimes the message is like, whoa, okay, I get it now. I had to step away from it and come back to it. So it's that kind of deck. Not everyone is trying to deal with that kind of deck, though. I get it. But for me, it works. And I'm also into literature. And it made sense for me to add this deck to my collection because of how passionate I am about literature. So yeah, this is just a nice, short, sweet list for you from me on my top 6 mass market produced Oracle decks. For you, what mass market produced Oracle decks have you been working with throughout 2019? Have you worked with any of these decks? Share with me. I can't wait to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the comments section below. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. So much love and many, many blessings. Check out my other videos and subscribe so you can stay in the loop for all the videos I am creating. All right, guys, much love. Bye.